Hi everyone, this Revit BIM for Landscape Architecture and Design is brought to you by the Technological and Higher Education Institute of Hong Kong. And this class is part of the Faculty of Design Environment. Welcome back. One of the main tools that landscape architects will be using. So let's draw a floor. So in order to draw a floor, you need to make sure you're in the floor plan view over here. And then you simply go from the Architecture tab to a floor. Click the drop down and select Architectural. And now this Modify Create Boundaries tab will pop up, and then you just draw out the boundary of your floor. So you go from line, sketch however you want. If you want to change it to a curved floor, you can do that. And then click OK. So one thing nice about Revit is when you're drawing in 3D, it'll also draw 2D, it'll also draw in 3D. So in order to see the 3D view, you go to the house at the top, default 3D view. And it'll show what it looks like in 3 dimensions. So one thing you'll notice is that apply a thickness to the floor. The thickness of the floor is set out by the floor type. So in order to change this, you select the floor, you go under Properties, and you go from generic 150 mm to say something like generic 300 mm. And then you see that the thickness itself changes. And you could also change it to say standard timber wood finish. And when you hover over it, you'll notice that there's a little bit of a section that will show you what it'll look like and how it's constructed. It's just like that. So one thing to note about sketching the floor plans is that you can always go back and re-edit. So in order to do that, you go select the floor and you go to Edit Boundary right up here. And you'll see the same dialog. So let's go edit this, and I'll show you some things that you need to know when drawing plans. So to draw a floor plan, it needs to be a connected loop. Your floor has to be 100% connected. It can't intersect like this. You can't do this. And you can't have it separate like this. I'll show you what happens. So let's try to click OK here. And you'll see there's a Revit error that comes up. Line must be a closed loop. And it'll highlight the 2 areas with orange dots that have errors. You want to click Continue. And you want to make them connect. All right, and that should be OK. So let's simulate what happens when you intersect. So go back to Edit Boundary. When your floors look something like this, it says lines cannot intersect. Highlighted lines currently intersect. So that means, again, you need to really essentially connect the dots. Revit really wants you to be clean and neat, otherwise it really won't work. So when you're drawing something like this, you got to really make sure that everything is kind of one complete loop. Another thing that will also cause an error for floors is if you try to draw on top of it, like this. So you'll see a warning will come up that lines overlap. Here you'll see that there are 2 lines. There's this one, and there is this one. And again, when you try it, it won't work. So just think one continuous loop with no overlaps and no intersects. Okay?